This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Hey, happy Tuesday. It is the Jason Walker Show and presented by Capital Collision Center. Here inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, big show today. We're going to check in at the U.S. Open in New York, the fanless U.S. Open, with Nick McCarvel, the former Capital State champ in tennis and a fantastic writer. Also, we're going to get his thoughts on what happened over the weekend with Novak Djokovic and a whole lot more. And it'll be coming up here in about 10 minutes or so. Also, we have our Auto Concepts Performance of the Week we'll hand out. And we have a leader in the clubhouse for next week already. Drew Johnson of Bozeman, currently at halftime. Bozeman boys are playing Belgrade boys soccer. He has 6 goals. That ties the state record, and it's only at the half. The Helena High girls are leading 4-1. But we'll keep an eye on Mr. Johnson down there in the Gallatin Valley, because we have an early leader for Performance of the Week next week from Auto Concepts. Speaking of Auto Concepts, unbelievable job that they do. And, we don't know what to expect this fall. We know we get to hunt because we can do 3, 2, 1. We can go do the outdoor stuff. So it's time to get your winch. You never know. You might need help. You might get stuck. You just never know. Get a lift kit for your truck, Auto Concepts. Check them out. They are fantastic. I talked about it last week, the bed rug over the regular bed cover. Bed rug is the way to go. It's washable. So if you get a little blood on it, who cares? Wash it off. Auto Concepts, check it out. We'll have our Auto Concepts Performance of the Week coming up here in a little bit. All right, but let's start as we do each and every day with our COVID update. 8,381 total confirmed cases since March in Montana. 66 new ones confirmed today. 119, unfortunately, have passed away. 161 currently in the hospital. We have had 6,270 recovered, which is the good news. There are 1,992 active cases in the state of Montana. Yellowstone County, down to 806 active. 233 in Rosebud, 142 Bighorn, and 182 Cascade, 151 in the Flathead. We got 50 in Deer Lodge County, 36 in Gallatin, 14 in Lewis and Clark, and a smattering of 53 up in Glacier. Speaking of Great Falls, the 182 in Cascade County includes some students, and 2 more confirmed positive cases today, as of just about a half an hour ago, in East Middle School and Paris Gibson up in Great Falls. Those 2 students are quarantined. Contact tracing is happening. Contact tracing. A few days ago, 2 positive tests came out of Great Falls High. As of today, there are 50 people quarantined who were in close contact with those cases at Great Falls High. But it's okay to be in school. That's what they say. That is our COVID update for the state of Montana at the moment, where we are. Let's see, what else did we want to get to early on here? So, had a great weekend. What a crazy weekend, though. Record-setting temperatures on Saturday. So I golfed Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Did 36 holes Saturday. And then Sunday, we took the little one to the swimming pool for the last time this year because it closed yesterday. Well, nobody was at the pool yesterday because it was cold and wet. And thankfully for the fires, especially Bozeman. But man, what you talk about 2 days, and it's funny watching national media explode because Wyoming got some snow yesterday, and Denver and Colorado were going to get some snow tomorrow or today, but they had like fire warnings and red flag warnings and also winter storm warnings. And then we remember in Montana, we had the same thing literally all weekend. Like, we're going to have fires, we're going to have really hot temperatures, and then we're also going to have snow and cold. Now, if you look around, there's some snow in the upper elevations, but nobody cares about Montana weather-wise except us, which is fine. We talked to Janice Dean, Fox News senior meteorologist, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the named storms for the winter, and just, it's just another day in Montana. But anyway, it was a fun weekend. Had a good time. There was I wish I was at Derby yesterday. Orrin Larson took the honors, $11,000 for the Yellowstone Riggin Rally. About 2,000 fans were out in the soggy, windy, and cold at Derby Rodeo Arena. The top 24 bareback riders in the PRCA World Standings were in Derby, as well as some cast members from the TV show Yellowstone. But Orrin Larson, with an 86.5, got the win and the $11,000, and has moved to 6th in the world standings, which is a pretty cool deal. And I think they're going to do it next year as well. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun. Richmond Champion was there, Tilden Hooper, Tanner Oss. I mean, these are guys that are real good, and would have liked to have been over there, but instead cooked dinner for the in-laws. So there you go. That's what I did yesterday. Hope you had a great weekend. And by the way, the Northern Rodeo Association wrapped up at Helmville, and we talked about it last week. They will not have a finals in Kalispell this year. So whoever was on top yesterday, or at the end of Helmville over the weekend, are your champions. So that includes J2 Bridges in bareback. Tyler Hooley of Browning won steer wrestling. Then there was a whole bunch of Hellenans. Ty Everson of East Helena, Timmy Sparing, Jet Murphy, Austin Whitehouse, Logan Beatty, 2 through 6. Then Colby Bignell, Ty Erickson were in there. Ty Erickson won the first NRA event of the year, and then I don't think he did anything after that, NRA. But Michaela Witter of Helena won the breakaway. Tie down goes to Jade Gardner of Winnett. Michaela Witter is a sweetheart. She rodeos at Western as well. Alan Gilbert of Browning took saddle bronc. Team roping goes to Garrett Duncan and Matt Robertson, Belgrade, Manhattan, respectively. Rope 3 irons finished 4th in the standings. And we still have yet to get him. We got to get him on the show. Rope 3 irons and Clay Gun Shows. Those are 2 dudes we need to get on the show. Lindsay Cruz took the barrel racing. Bull riding, Riley Barrick. So Peyton Fitzpatrick will not get a three-peat. But Riley wins it. All around, Ben Ayer of Glendive. All around, Cowgirl goes to Tammy Jo Carpenter of Kalispell. So, Rookie of the Year, bareback, Micah Frazier. Alan Gobert of Saddle Bronc, and Caden Fitzpatrick in bull riding. Tie down, Cole Detton, who also Rookie of the Year in steer wrestling. And team roping, rope 3 irons. And Paige Palin, ladies barrel racing. Brooke Bacall, breakaway. So, cool. Good stuff. Oh, rookie. Did I get to? Yeah, we did. All right, so good stuff in the NRA. And they'll be back super strong next year. But all of us will, right? All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back. We'll give you an update on, Rachel Plaster of Helena now has a hat trick. 7-1, the Bengal girls lead. 3 goals is great. Still not 6 like Drew Johnson down in Bozeman. Holy cow. So we'll keep an eye on the soccer that's going on right now. But when we return, we're going to talk some tennis. U.S. Open tennis. Novak Djokovic got into some trouble. We're going to talk Serena Williams. We're also going to talk French Open and much more with the man who has a state championship, Nick McCarvel from Capitol High. He joins us from Arthur Ashe Stadium when we return here. Jason Walker Show presented by Capital Collision Center. Coming right back.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Well, we're not going to have a Triple Crown winner this year. 'Tis the law. Faded down the stretch at the Kentucky Derby over the weekend. And courtesy of NBC Sports here. Good stuff, though. Remember, our friend Barry Abrams told us Friday that Authentic could be one that pulls an upset. Nobody expected it, though. They called it massive upset. It really wasn't. I mean, Authentic went off at pretty good odds. But Bob Baffert then fell after He's okay, the trainer, but there's the win is authentic. Upsets Tiz the Law. So we'll see what happens with Mr. Big News at 46-1, taking third. Remember, we told you the money was going to be who finishes second and third. And Mr. Big coming in at 46-1. So there you go. Speaking of horse racing, there are some horses in tennis. Rafa Nadal, Roger Federer, Andy Murray, who lost earlier in the week at the U.S. Open, Novak Djokovic, who is in a little bit of hot water, Serena Williams on the women's side. There's just some powerful horses that are in the world of tennis. And to join us now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline to chat about what happened with Novak over the weekend. And if you missed it, Novak did something bad. He fired a ball and it hit a line judge right in the throat. And it was not a good situation. And to chat about it now, our good friend, he is the U.S. Open commentator and reporter, also does some work for the Olympic Channel. And joining us now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, it is our friend Nick McCarvel.
His 18th Grand Slam, with all due respect to everyone else who was taking...
Actually in one of the stadiums. Are you in Ash or Armstrong? I mean, where are we at here, Nick?
Yeah, hi, Jason. Hi from New York City. Yeah, I'm actually up top. You might hear some of the wind that's coming through Arthur Ashe Stadium, and I'm at the very, very top. We've been wearing masks everywhere, so I just took my mask off to chat with you and be in a private place without anyone else around. But strange to watch right now. There's a quarterfinal going on, and I'd say there's 50 people watching it, everyone credentialed and on-site working, versus the, I'd guess, usually 10,000 people that would watch this match otherwise.
It has been weird to watch some of the highlights and some of the matches with nobody there. Nick McCarvel, our guest here, Jason Walker Show. Let's start with the controversy over the weekend. Novak Djokovic getting kicked out of the Open, getting defaulted. And it's a different situation than what happened with Serena a few years ago, which we'll talk about too here in a second. But what was your take on Novak and the whole situation with the line judge?
Yeah, it was really too bad. I mean, the tennis rules are pretty clear, and everyone that I spoke with inside of tennis, whether it be former players, commentators, I'm a friend with a former official that I was texting with, everyone basically said, no matter the intent, and it was obviously accidental what Novak did, if you hit someone with a ball on court, the way and the manner that he did, he hit the ball somewhat hard, not super hard, but hard enough, and it hit that lineswoman in the throat. It's just an automatic default. And it was really, it's just the worst luck, because obviously he was frustrated in the match. He's the world number one. He had a tough first set against a player that he should certainly have been beating. And out of frustration, he hits the ball in court, and the player, according to the rule book, has the responsibility, the player, to make sure that they're keeping everyone safe on court, as everyone else is. And so, the officials came out, they talked about it, but, the woman was hit in the throat. She went down. She was obviously, I think, probably more shocked and surprised equally as much as she was physically injured by the ball hitting her in the throat. I think, from what I understand, she's doing physically okay now, but it was just a terrible situation. And to see, it was very, I guess, par for the course for 2020 is that this year continues to bring us these situations that everyone kind of throws their hands up, and in a very serious manner, obviously, with the pandemic and what we're facing there as a country and as a society. But Novak was far and away the favorite. He's chasing history. We were without Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal here. That was a big loss for the tournament. Rafa chose not to come because of COVID, and Roger's out for the year because of a surgery that he just had. And so it really was Novak's title to win, and everyone felt like that. And it was kind of the new guard, the younger guys against Novak for the title, and it was, that match was for a spot in the quarterfinal. So honestly, Jason, too bad. But I do have to say, I work with a lot of these people year round, the officials, and they take their jobs really seriously. And there's a rule book in place for a reason. And, it got headline news, and I saw it on ESPN and SportsCenter and all of that. I think there were some hot takes from the talking heads in sports, which is fine. I mean, that's what this situation is going to have. But from an inside tennis perspective, I know I spend my life traveling the tennis tour. The right call was made in the situation that was at hand.
Nick McCarvel joining us from the U.S. Open, sitting in Arthur Ashe Stadium, and appreciate his time here on the Jason Walker Show. Obviously, Novak very upset, very apologetic. How's the line judge now? Because I know that somebody in media put her Instagram up, and she's been getting lit up like it was her fault, but obviously it's not. But how's she doing? And Novak's apology seemed real.
Yeah, I actually can't speak to her condition. I don't know how she's doing physically. At least the messaging that night was that she was doing okay. Yeah, and then, social media is just such a slippery slope. Yeah. I mean, you have your show. I work in media myself. Like, I think we enjoy so much of it because it connects us and we're passionate about things. And sports obviously lives a good part of its life on social media too. And I think that a lot of people just felt very wronged by what we were just talking about, by the ruling, and they went after her, and she had nothing to do with it. I mean, people were saying that she overacted, or no one knows how you're going to feel in a situation when you get hit with a ball in the throat, when you're not, your eye wasn't on that ball, the point was over, they were between games. I mean, there's just so many factors, and Novak actually had to go as far as posting to his social media to ask fans to stop harassing her, which is, again, that's the slippery slope of social media. But yeah, listen, I actually thought his apology post previously was pretty well done. I think his team obviously came up with that, and he signed off on it, which I thought was great. I was a little disappointed that he didn't come to media. So the players are required to do press after each time they take the court, or if a walkover, if a match gets canceled or someone pulls out injured or what have you, that's their duty to the tournament and to the organization. And Novak opted not to do that. He left the U.S. Open site here pretty quickly after he was disqualified. And I thought that was kind of disappointing. I know it was a tough situation, but he opted not to do that and instead put out the statement. I'm sure we'll hear from him at some point through a different medium. But he was fined $20,000 for that. He was fined another $10,000 for the on-court infraction, stripped of his prize money, stripped of his ranking points for the tournament. It was an ordeal. I do wish, though, that he would have stopped, and it would have been a tough conversation, but that he would have spoken with the world's press after that, before he left the U.S. Open.
Absolutely. I completely agree. U.S. Open commentator, also doing some work for Olympic Channel. We'll talk about that too. But Nick McCarvel joining us. All right, final question on this, Nick, and I'm sure you've seen the picture, but from the New York Post, they said Novak Djokovic's excessive punishment, terrible for U.S. Open, but then the comparison that Serena acted like a sore loser from a couple of years ago. This is hard to, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter saying it was racial. And in my take, Nick, it wasn't racial as much as it was sexist to compare the difference between Novak and Serena. Obviously, Novak's an accident. Serena has a history of losing her temper at the Open. But what was your take?
Well, I think they're two different scenarios, and people love to compare apples and oranges and pretend that they're the same. And Serena's infraction was dealt with in the rule book, and a lot of people felt like Serena's issue was handled harshly. And that's when I go back to the rule book and you look at Carlos Ramos, who's in the chair for that match, and he's legendary as far as the way that he officiates and the way that he goes by the book. And we have Sorum Pramel, who's here he's the tournament referee for the U.S. Open. And I saw that New York Post stuff, and listen, that columnist wants headlines, he wants clicks. I think it's tough though, and tennis, I think it's just an interesting one because tennis is a little bit out of the mainstream, out of those big four sports I think that you talk about every day on the show. And so then when something like this big comes up and we go to the rule book, well, people say, well, what's wrong with the rules? And Serena should have this and Novak should have that. And those of us inside the sport are saying, yeah, of course we should always look at the rule book and see how do we make things better? How do we make things more fair? But it's written there as it is for now. So you can't just, the situational sort of nitpicking at these different things, it just doesn't, that's not the way that rules are written. A rule is there so that it can then be applied to a certain situation, not so that it can be changed or massaged in different ways. And so I look back at the Serena decision, and sure, a lot of people feel as though it should have been handled differently. Should she have been punished more harshly? Was she punished too harshly? I mean, it's across the board, people's feelings on all of it.
Right.
To me, the baseline is you go back to the written rule. What does it say? That's what it is. It has to be applied, and then you move on, because otherwise then it just becomes too subjective for people, opinions to be thrown around, and no shock that New York Post wants headlines and clicks and reactions. So that is what it is.
Nick McCarvel joining us here, Jason Walker Show. What's it been like watching inside the stadiums with nobody there?
Well, I have to say, I'm here with the USTA, with the U.S. Open, and I really do feel like they've done a sensational job. I mean, you and I have spoken a few times in the last few months. I was in Helena for almost 6 months between the break on tour and coming back, and this is the largest sporting event in the world that's been able to restart, in a sense. You look at the NBA bubble, you look at the MLB and the NHL and what they've been able to do, obviously some global soccer that's happening around the world and some different sporting events, but those have been, either bubbled or one-off events where you just don't have all of the mechanisms in place here. And I said at the top of the interview, I've now gone to a private little spot in the stadium where no one else is around me and no one else can see me. So then I've taken my mask off because I know it's safe.
Right.
Whereas everywhere else on the grounds, I'm not exaggerating, unless you're a player or a trainer or a coach and you're on court or you're warming up or cooling down, you're in a mask. And we're in masks for commentary until we get right into our booth. We're given sanitized headsets. The door closes and you see your commentary partner on the screen because they're in the room next door. I mean, they are not joking around. And that is actually, I think some listeners might say, well, it's ridiculous. You're going too far. But we're in the reality in the midst of a pandemic. I certainly feel it here in New York more so than I felt it in Helena when I was home. And so as a big sporting event, you have to be able to say, how are we going to put this on safely, not only for the athletes, but for the hundreds, if not thousands of people who are hoping to have work out of these events, so that we can provide this TV product. I mean, ESPN has had now 2 weeks of full U.S. Open coverage. It's going around the world to Amazon Prime, Eurosport, WoW in Japan. I mean, those are big markets. Mm-hmm. It's a big industry. And from what I understand, the Olympics are doing everything that they can to make sure that they're going to be able to do something similar or that they're going to have some sort of legs to stand on for Tokyo next summer, because that's obviously an event that happens once every 4 years that people would really like to see happen.
Nick McCarvel joining us here, Jason Walker Show. All right, let's talk about the players that are still remaining. Obviously, Serena, the favorite on the women's side. I saw a tweet, was it last night from her match, but it was obviously with no crowd and no commentators. You can really hear her grunts in that stadium. But she seems to, just after getting past Sloane Stevens on Saturday, she seems to be rolling now. And obviously with 1 and 2 seeds gone, it seems to be hers. Although there is a surprise, and I've been following on Twitter, but Jen Brady has been kicking some tail.
Yeah, totally. And actually, it's less so the Serena grunts and more just like the intensity. I mean, so the players are allowed their camp, which is up to 3 people. And I think because Serena and Venus obviously are from the same family, they've gotten crossover. So like sister Isha has been around, and so they've got a couple more people there cheering on for Serena. And you just can hear the intensity of the come-ons and the sort of pumping herself up, and yes, the grunting too, and just the sound of the movement on court, the squeaking of the shoes, the hitting of the ball off the racket. She looks really good. I think it's the big headline to say that Serena is the favorite. I still don't think on form that maybe she's played the best tennis of this tournament. Now, that said, I actually thought that Sloane Stephens might give her more of a test, and Serena was able to close that out in 3 sets. She sort of found her way and then steamrolled. She looks really good. She's got Svetlana Perankova. That's tomorrow. That's 2 moms on tour. Perankova coming back having given birth as well. Serena gave birth in 2017. Perankova in 18. Victoria Azarenka is still in. A lot of people are excited about her. She's had a good run of form the last couple of weeks, Jason. You mentioned Jen Brady. She's someone that on the tennis tour, a lot of people have been excited about the way she's played in the last couple of years, but she hasn't necessarily had a breakout event. Well, now that's arrived. This is it. She's on the other half of the draw from Serena, so we're waiting to find out if she'll play Shelby Rogers, who's another breakout American player, or Naomi Osaka, who is a 2-time slam champ and who has played really, really good tennis. It kind of feels to me right now like Osaka is playing the best tennis out of the 7 women now that we have remaining. But yeah, you know, when you get into the quarterfinals of a major, it's really hard to pick against Serena because of her history, because she's won more than anyone else in the Open era, and she once again is trying to get to 24 majors, which would tie the all-time record.
Would there be an asterisk? Because, I mean, we know how good she's been, and she's tried for 24 for a few years, but without a lot of the top stars there, because, you know, Ash Barty's not there. You have a lot of players that aren't there because of the COVID, but it's still Serena. So yes or no on an asterisk?
I just don't think we can, you know, are the NBA champions going to have an asterisk?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just it.
World Series, the Stanley Cup. I don't think that's fair to the athletes. You show up, and, you know, Ash Barty didn't come. Rafael Nadal's not here. We're without Simona Halep. Bianca Andreescu is the defending champ. I mean, yeah, there's some top players missing here. I also will say the quarterfinals on both the men's and women's side, there's a few names that you guys might not recognize in Helena, but I'd tell you, a lot of the people in tennis are like, yeah, these are really dang good tennis players. So I think for me, it's always about, you know, when you look at Roger Federer's 20 majors or Serena Williams' 23 majors, some of them were they harder to win than others? Yeah, of course. But you play the matches that are in front of you.
Yeah.
So do you say that just because there wasn't X player or Y player that is worth half a slam? I just, you know, I think that's, again, kind of the same thing as the rule book. It's like, well, a slam is a slam. And I also think from a player perspective, you know, I'm watching these guys now. They've been on court for almost 3 hours. I'm watching a quarterfinal. And again, Jason, there's 50 or 100 people here, and there's a smattering of claps every now and then. Now, ESPN's doing automated crowd noise for people at home through IBM AI. So you guys see, if it's a really good point, the AI gives you a little more crowd noise in broadcast. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, these guys are playing for their, 3 people in their camp. And it is physical, and I actually think it's probably a different and harder mental challenge than some of these players have ever faced.
Sure.
So I actually think, you know, instead of an asterisk, give them 3+ signs for winning the title, because just in the sense of competing at the highest level, and I think a lot of the athletes in Montana would understand this. You know, you go out there in these pressure situations, and no matter if you're playing in front of 10 people in Havre or a full stadium of 10,000 in Billings, you compete at the level that you're asked to, and this level, I have to say, is off the charts, and these athletes are incredible, and the way that they've mentally tuned in to the controlled environment, the social distancing measures, the fact that they're wearing masks all the time when they're not on the court, and that they're not in Manhattan. You know, they're not going for a nice Italian dinner downtown in Soho. They're going back to their hotel room. They're great. They've put on some really great activities for them at the hotel. They've got an outdoor space that they can use there. You know, they're not locked away. But this is a different kind of challenge, and I think that these athletes should actually be lauded for coming here and putting forth the effort that they have.
Nick McCarvel joining us here, Jason Walker Show. A couple final questions, but so who wins on the men's side and who wins on the women's side?
Well, initially I picked Maddie Keys to win the women's event. She was looking really good, Jason, and then she had an injury in the third round, so she's out. It's really hard to pick against Serena ever, I think, in life. So, I really would love to see Serena take this title. I think right now, for me, it feels like Serena, Osaka, and Azarenka, because they've really been here before. Those are your three front runners. It would be an Azarenka-Serena semifinal.
Ooh.
And then if either of those players were to get to the final and Osaka was to make the final, then there's your matchup there. I cheated a little bit. Final answer would probably be Serena, just because. Why not?
Sure.
And then from the start, Jason, I picked Dominic Thiem. He's been in 3 Slam finals previously, 2 at the French and 1 at the AO earlier this year. I just, he slashes Zverev, who I'm watching right now, and then Daniil Medvedev, who made the final here last year. Those are kind of the 3 guys that are still in that everyone has been talking about. You've got the young kid, Denis Shapovalov from Canada. You've got a young guy named Alex de Minaur from Australia. You've got a veteran named Pablo Carreño Busta. I mean, there's a lot of good tennis being played, but I picked Thiem from the start, so I can't abandon my horse when he's still in the race.
Well, absolutely not.
Sticking with Dominic Thiem.
And it almost feels like it's his time. We always talk about the big 3 or even the big 4 sometimes, but it seems like it's a younger guy's time. Now, Novak gave him a chance because of getting, tossed out, which we talked about earlier. But Thiem has been impressive the last couple of years. And it seems, like I said, he would be the one to take that next step.
Yeah. And, people, it's funny, we're thinking about asterisks and time and all that kind of stuff. In 2009, when Rafael Nadal was beaten at the French Open for the first time, he had won 5 titles from 2004 to 2008, and he loses in the 4th round to Robin Soderling, and all the pressure goes to Roger Federer because he had never won that title. And Federer had a really hard time getting across the finish line. I think he was down maybe 2-1 to Tommy Haas. He had to move through that match. Robin Soderling was tough in the final. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, Rafa's out, Roger's going to win the French. And so now it's like, okay, we didn't have Rafa and Roger. Andy Murray lost early. We have no Stan Wawrinka, and now Djokovic has been DQ'd. So it's like any of these guys, Zverev, Thiem, and Medvedev, from my perspective, it's very even. And it's like, who is going to step up? And I think that's what I hope people at home are giving these athletes a chance to really prove themselves and click on ESPN and just enjoy the tennis for what it is. And hopefully in the next 2, 3, 4 years, you guys in Montana and beyond can enjoy these guys as household names, because a Dominic Thiem quality of tennis is honestly pretty much on par with the Rafael Nadal quality of tennis. He just has not had those, obviously, same career achievements yet that Rafa has had.
It's crazy to think about. He's 27, I think Dominic Thiem is. So, all right. So we got the French Open coming up soon. They came out and said they're going to try to allow spectators. Do you see it happening?
I mean, I know that, the FFC, I think, is doing everything to put that tournament on, and I work with the FFC on a consistent basis. I think it's going to be tough. I think that they're going to do their best. I hope that they can do a safe environment the way that the USTA has. I think the U.S. Open, if they would have been given an extra month like Paris has had to put together some sort of format for fans, maybe. But I don't know, Jason. This thing is sticking around, and I think in Helena it kind of felt far away. In New York, it feels much closer for me personally. Paris has seen cases go back up. I know that they're only selling a certain percentage of tickets. The social distance measures are really strict, but I have to say, even just as an employee being on site here at the U.S. Open, it's really strict. And sometimes you're kind of like, God, dang, this is hard to do, wearing the mask all the time, not shaking anyone's hands, not being, even our commentary colleagues, it's like, don't crowd in the hall together. If you want to have a conversation, please do. Go outside, sit in the stands, be social distance. Are you going to be able to get 20,000 people a day to do that kind of stuff? Not really.
No.
So I can tell that obviously, the FFC is hopeful and the French Open is hopeful. And the other thing I just want to say to you right now, I'm watching Naomi Osaka walk off the practice court below Arthur Ashe Stadium. And it's still crazy to me. She's leaving the practice facility, which honestly normally would have a couple thousand people screaming her name and asking for autographs and selfies. And she could be anyone. She could be me and you leaving the Civic Center courts after a sweaty mess of a 3-set match, and no one cares.
That's crazy. I did want to get this out there because not many people know this back in your hometown of Helena, but you're starting working for the Olympic Channel. What's that going to entail?
Yeah, so I've been with them for a couple months. The Olympic Channel is based out of Madrid, and I'm one of 2 producers now working in the U.S. My colleague, Scott Bregman, is in Chicago. And, yeah, listen, our job, our goal, our task is to tell stories of Olympians year-round. And it's a job that I'm really excited about. And we produce really cool stories on, a lot of unheralded athletes who right now are facing a tough time with COVID-19 and the delay of the Olympics. And I think probably some budgetary challenges as far as trying to make it with training for the next 11 months, 10 months. And so the Olympic Channel has they're obviously partners with NBC in the U.S. because NBC is our rights holder for the Olympics. I think people would know that. But then we have a whole team of producers, writers, bloggers, podcasters, and I do a mix of content for our website, olympicchannel.com, and then you can easily find us on social media on all platforms, just at Olympic Channel. And yeah, I'm going to be doing some writing. I've done a couple Instagram Lives, some video interviews, some packages, just kind of a whole content suite for all of the digital stuff. And I'm going to do a lot of tennis stuff. I do figure skating as well.
Yep.
I've already done some different stuff on cycling athletes and track and field and swimming. And it's just a pleasure to not only get to know some new athletes, but be able to get to tell their stories. And yeah, if you guys haven't, check it out, olympicchannel.com.
Yeah, no, you do fantastic work. I wanted to ask you this, and I've wanted to ask you this for a couple of years. If you weren't doing what you do, what else would you have gone and done?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. My first year in New York, I was blogging, and I was working at a coffee shop, and I was not making any money, and I was pulling out a friend's couch every night because we shared a studio apartment. And one of my big interests, my dad worked at Carroll for years, and one of my big interests was student development. And so I had applied for a student development program, and I actually got a couple great offers to go to graduate school for, higher ed student development. And something in my gut just told me not to do it. And I had a couple of friends who called me, and they were like, what do you have these scholarships and this great opportunity. And I was working at a coffee shop. It was kind of like, what are you doing with your life at 24? And my gut kind of told me to stay. And so I think I'd be in higher ed, which wouldn't make me better off right now because of all the challenges that colleges and universities are facing. But yeah, I love working with people. Obviously, I think that's why I love telling athlete stories, especially kind of outside the big sports, these niche sports. I find really fascinating. And then, if I would have been in a university system, it would have been similar, working with young people, helping them tell their stories or realize their stories. I guess I'm not quite sure the correlation, but that was really the only other thing I had pursued otherwise. And then, I love what we do, communication, PR, writing, storytelling, video, that kind of stuff. Those are all. In another lifetime, I was a KTVH 6 o'clock anchorman, but maybe someday down the road. But no, I'm very happy, lucky. I feel #blessed to be able to do the work that I do.
Well, I'm the blessed one to get to chat with you. I did run into your dad the other day on the golf course, and he said you are more than welcome to come home anytime. But are you back in New York full time now?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
And, I spent 5 months at home, and it was fantastic. And if anyone wants to challenge Tom McCarvel at Green Meadows, he has been playing. He's very, he's not one to toot his own horn, but he's playing some really dang good golf.
Yep.
I think at 70 plus, I won't say how old he is, but he's been out there a lot, and I've been happy about, I think sometimes in Montana it's been tougher for people to understand the seriousness of this pandemic, and I don't say that in a politically charged way. I say that just in the sense that this is real, and in New York you can really feel it. And I've been really happy with my parents of, getting out on the golf course. My mom goes walking, hiking every day, and that's what we got to do right now, and hopefully get through this thing in the next few months, year or so.
Of all the people that you miss in the family, do you miss was it little nephew? Is that the 18-month-old?
There's 7 of them right now in Helena, but my brother's got 2 little girls, so
a little niece.
I miss them. I don't know really if they miss me.
Oh, of course they do. Hey, your dad's got great hair. You got great hair. I can see where you get it from. Keep up the great work. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your stuff on the OlympicChannel.com. And what's cool about it, like you said, Nick, is that it's not, talking to Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal or these guys. Yeah. You're talking to non-household names that soon will be a household name as soon as we get the Olympics back. And I think that's great work for you, and you do a great job. So someday I'd love to have you tell my story.
All right, let's do it. Can't wait. Thanks, Jason. I always appreciate our chat.
Thanks, Nick. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Nick McCarvel joining us, Jason Walker Show on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, and he's just a great dude, and he's so seriously just so talented at what he does, which is writing and interviewing. He's fantastic, and OlympicChannel.com. Make sure you check out some of Nick's stuff. I mean, he's a Helena dude. Went to Capital. And knows the tennis, knows the world, and he's fantastic. All right, quick break. We'll come back. And when we do, we have On This Day in History. And we got some final scores from soccer. Is there a new state record for boys soccer? Most goals in a game. We'll find out next when we return. Jason Walker Show presented by Capital Collision Center. Coming right back. Hang on.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Final segment on a Tuesday. That is a live look thanks to EarthCam at Big Sky. I think we got more snow in our tippy tops of the mountains, hillsides around Helena than Big Sky did. But there you go. Thanks to EarthCam. Good stuff. Segment brought to you by Mark LaRoe Photography. Make sure you check out Mark's fantastic gallery online right now from Helmville. 2 days worth of rodeo, and Mark's got some killer stuff that you can purchase. And if you do, mention the Jason Walker Show. I'll give you 20% off. Also, if you book a senior portrait picture family package, any of the packages for portraits, and mention the show, you'll get a free 8x10 canvas or matte print. Mark LaRoe Photography.com. Fun chatting with Nick McCarvel. He's so much fun to talk with. He's just a great dude, and appreciate him taking a half hour out of his time today to check in with us from the U.S. Open. And it's cool to get a perspective that we don't normally get, because as much as I would like to go to the U.S. Open someday, I'm not sure it'll happen. The one I really want to go to of all the tennis Grand Slams is Australia. I would love to go to the Australian Open because it's summer in Australia for one. And wow, just saw some news on the Twitter political stuff that unbelievable. Okay. Oof. All right. Let's see. What else were we? There was some sad news today. So remember, was it 2 months ago that the treasure, Forrest Fenn's treasure, was found, and supposedly was found in Wyoming. Now, Forrest Fenn he gained fame. He was an antiquities dealer. He was an author. Gained fame for this treasure that he had hid with gold, jewels, and other valuables. He passed away Monday at his home in Santa Fe. He was 90. But so he held on till someone found the treasure. So supposedly, the treasure had gold dust, rare gold coins, gold nuggets, pre-Columbian animal figures, prehistoric mirrors of hammered gold, ancient Chinese faces carved from jade, and antique jewelry with rubies and emeralds. And he always said he hid the treasure as a way to tempt people to get outdoors and get into the wilderness. There's a great story on it on Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates. But it was a fun story, but sad news is Forrest has been Forrest Fenn passed away yesterday. So there you go. Let's see. Oh, there was some other sad news, and this of the football variety. Jermaine Stevens, 6'3" defensive tackle for Cal University of Pennsylvania. It's a D2 school. Died. He was recently. He was 20. School announced it today. His dad was a first-round draft pick in the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1996, played 5 seasons in the NFL, but younger Jermaine was to be a senior, appeared in 32 games in the 3 previous seasons, and reports are saying that he passed in part because of complications from COVID-19. This is a 20-year-old. We talked about the 19-year-old out in Puyallup that passed away. Healthy kids. But COVID doesn't affect the youngsters, remember? So, all right, let's do Auto Concepts Performance of the Week. So we have a leader for next week. Drew Johnson of Bozeman. The Hawks boys beat Belgrade 8-0 today. Johnson had 6 first-half goals. He did not get a goal in the second half. But he tied the state record of goals in a game at 6. And he did all that in the first half. Let's see. Helena High girls got a win. Rachel Plaster had a hat trick. So we got a couple of leaders for next week already. But this week's Auto Concepts Performance of the Week, we stay with soccer. Laurel on Saturday down Hamilton 10-1. Maya Mack had 4 goals. Morgan Mack had 3. That's 7 of the 10. Does that feel like a Mack truck hit you, Hamilton? Because it did. Maya and Morgan combining for 7 of the 10 Laurel goals. Laurel's so good. I know they lost earlier, I think, this season, but they're really good. That's defending state champs. I think they've won 2 in a row, 3 in a row. But Laurel girls soccer is really good. So that's your Auto Concepts Performance of the Week, the Max from Laurel. All right, let's get to On This Day in History. It is September the 8th. It is National Ampersand Day. It is also National Ants on a Log Day. 1894, Thomas Edison employed William K.L. Dixon to film the first boxing match. It was held at West Orange, New Jersey. It was an exhibition between world heavyweight champ James Corbett and Peter Courtney. In 1939, Bob Feller, at the age of 20, became the youngest pitcher to win 20 games. 1957, Althea Gibson wins the first of 2 singles championships at the U.S. National Championship. 1960, at the Rome Olympics, Wilma Rudolph won her 3rd gold medal of the games. She had was part of the 4x100. Also had won the 1 and the 2. 1963, Warren Spahn ties Christy Mathewson, 13-20 win seasons. 1968, the U.S. Open, Arthur Ashe wins the first Open-era U.S. title. 1969, Margaret Court wins her 3rd singles title at the U.S. Open, her 16th Grand Slam singles event. And then on this day, 1973, she won her 24th and final Grand Slam singles title. That's the one that Serena Williams is trying to beat. They're tie. Margaret Court won 64 Grand Slam tournament titles, 24 singles titles, 19 doubles titles, and 21 mixed doubles titles. There's a argument there that she's the greatest tennis player of all time. Now, people are going to say Serena, but 64 Grand Slam tournament titles, that's a lot. 1974, Jimmy Connors won the first of his 5 U.S. Opens. 1974 as well, Evel Knievel attempted to jump the Snake River Canyon in Idaho. He failed. 1979, Tracy Austin became the U.S. Youngest champ at the U.S. Open, 16 years, 9 months. 1985, Pete Rose ties Ty Cobb, 4,191 hits. 1990, Gabriela Sabatini, the only Argentine woman to win a Grand Slam singles event. Gabriela Sabatini. She was fun to watch. 2002, Pete Sampras won the 14th and final Grand Slam title, beat Andre Agassi. 2008, Roger Federer got his 5th consecutive U.S. Open. Birthday today. Patsy Cline was born on this date in 1932, also known as Virginia Hensley. But 1932, Patsy Cline born. Also, happy birthday to Pink. Alicia Beth Moore, the singer, was born in Pennsylvania on this date, 1979. I didn't realize Pink was that old. I mean, she's almost as old as I am. But congratulations, happy birthday to Pink. Nope, let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right, big thanks to Nick McCarvel for joining us today. Nick sitting in Arthur Ashe Stadium and hanging out watching tennis. And it was just cool to check in with him. And we'll check in with him down the road more and more. But Nick McCarvel, the Capital product, hanging out at the U.S. Open. He picks Dominic Thiem and Serena Williams to win it. But if you missed anything from today's show, or any show, you can go to jasonwalkershow.com. And if you'd like to weigh in anytime, you can. You can email us, jasonwalkersports@gmail.com. You can Facebook us. You can tweet at jwalkersports. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of us. And like I said, just go to jasonwalkershow.com. Tomorrow, Flint Rasmussen. We will talk to the famed PBR entertainer. Billings PBR this weekend. Jess Lockwood returns. We'll talk to Flint Rasmussen coming up tomorrow. Later in the week, Nicole Rigoni, that's what she said, coming up Thursday. And we will talk to Joe Frost, Super Nanny, will join us later in the week as well here on the Jason Walker Show. Have yourself a great Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Supposed to be warming up again, which would be cool. It's way too early to be this cold. See you tomorrow at 4. Jason Walker Show with Flynn Rasmussen.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.